Point here is the theme of today is design with nature and be rewarded with infrastructure grants. Well, the guy you have to impress and his staff, like with Katrina, is Glen. So, in terms of our improvising here, it's good that Glen is here because in terms of what Emmett wanted to achieve today, Glen's going to give you the insider's view, the ministry's perspective on how you distinguish yourself in order to be rewarded with grants. And there are a number of municipalities here like Glen, so carry it on.
Well, I'm not sure whether to thank you for that.
We're informal around here, guys.
Well, thanks, Kim. And I guess, Kim has no boss is one point. The other point is you don't have to impress me, you just have to do the right thing. That's what it's all about. So, I think Kim sort of identified, I'm here to talk, really focus on what the province is doing, particularly what the Ministry of Community Development is doing with the grant programs. I think what you'll see in, the province certainly supports the efforts that BCWWA is doing through the Water Sustainability Committee and CAVI, and it's not just because I'm the chair of the Water Sustainability Committee, but it's the efforts that they're doing. But I think my presentation will really sort of identify how the two are mirrored as far as goals and outcomes, and that's really what it's all about. It's really aligning, the goals and outcomes and objectives of senior government, provincial government, local government, and citizens on the ground. When you have that, that's when you got action, and that's when you have ultimately get good projects. So, next slide, please. So just quickly taking you through my presentation, give you a bit of a provincial overview of the framework and the strategic direction, how that's sort of shaped, at least within our ministry. Talk about some keys to success, so how you can align your projects and the work you're doing on the ground with the goals and objectives of grant programs, and identify a few of the funded projects. Give you another section to summarize briefly. Next slide, please. So the provincial framework and strategic direction, well, this might be oversimplifying it, but I look at it in two pieces. We've got provincial legislation, and some federal legislation that really identifies the minimum standard that we have to achieve. And it certainly impacts how we develop and build our infrastructure, because you're building it to meet those standards. Provincial plans and strategies, more recently we've got some strategies that actually have some vision to them, and that's where we see some innovation and some change. Next slide. So I'm not going to go into great detail on this, a little bit of a focus on water here, but Drinking Water Protection Act clearly has impacted how we deal with our drinking water infrastructure. Environmental Management Act, Municipal Sewage Regulation, Water Act, Health Act. From a federal point of view, we've got a couple of pieces that, one, while PSAT is a bit of an accounting exercise, I look at it as an opportunity for managers of infrastructure to move forward with better asset management. I'll talk a little bit about that in later slides. And CCME, are most of you familiar about the municipal wastewater effluent strategy that's going forward federally or nationally? So that may impact how we look at wastewater infrastructure. And I'm hesitant to use the word waste because I'm going to speak to that a little bit, because we're not calling it waste anymore. It's a resource, resource water. But anyway, that would be potentially some new federal legislation that may impact how we move forward. So the next slide, please. So provincial plans and strategies. Now these, for us, are really, the visionary documents that help shape our grant programs. And in particular, I think the Climate Action Plan and the Living Water Smart strategy really provide us with direction in how we shape our grant programs, sort of identify where we want to go with them. So next one. So the climate action plan, I mean, there's some legislated targets in there, reduction of greenhouse gas emissions by 33%, reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, public service being carbon neutral. Of course, a number of local governments have also signed on to the climate action charter. Is everyone here signed on to the climate action charter? I can report back to the minister that everyone here has done so. Okay, great. But you know, this it has great influence really on a lot of the infrastructure. Obviously, our transportation networks, how we design them, our land use, regional growth strategies, OCP development. This has great impact on that. Even once again, when I'm talking about wastewater management, this action plan makes us think about it as resource management, right? So it's waste to energy that we're starting to think about right now, and these are the train of thought. And this is the some of the influence that we have as we move forward with wastewater management. So next slide, please. So living water smart. Obviously, we're looking at water conservation. So if you're looking at it from a perspective of a grant application, you really have to start thinking about any kind of application or any kind of project that is looking at supply side management, and whether the grant programs would be supporting that kind of initiative without, at least with some significant water conservation strategies in place. Some of the bottom actions look at protection of riparian zones, protection of stream health. And so that's a great influencer on how we're looking at rainwater management within our watersheds, and some of the planning initiatives that have to go on behind the scenes. So next slide, please. So I guess once we have sort of established the long-term vision, we end up looking at some partnerships, tools, and resources to help support that vision. And ultimately, both the strategies that I've talked about in these partnerships, tools, and resources end up getting integrated back into the grant programs. So just to name a few here, water balance model, the water bucket, a couple of BCWWA initiatives. Infra Guide was actually a pretty good project that was funded federally through the FCM. Since has the federal government has stopped funding that program, but interesting enough, I think there's a new agreement with the Canadian Standards Association with developing new best management practices, so we're going to wait and see what's going to come out of that. I'm involved with the National Roundtable on Sustainable Infrastructure. They're looking at a number of different sort of sustainable infrastructure initiatives at a federal level and a national level. Stormwater planning, of course, a great on-the-ground document. I believe Kim was involved, or the pen behind that, actually. That actually is integrated into our grant programs, and we encourage people who are doing stormwater or rainwater management to utilize that document. Next slide, please. Just some of the other tools and resources. We've developed a small community infrastructure sustainability website geared to help small communities, and it rests on the water bucket, but it is actually a standalone website. We're also, we've developed a water conservation calculator to help with water conservation. We've got a toolkit which we're developing in partnership with POLIS. And the water conservation calculator, actually we just entered into an agreement with Lanner to put that as a web-based tool, and it'll rest on the water bucket. I mentioned here the Local Government Asset Management Working Group. It really appeared with the PSAP 3150, and many of you aware